and Auburn gets out of a bases-loaded, no-out jam, and Kayla Martin, she led the charge for the Auburn Tigers last night. And Kayla Martin, she is the leader of this Auburn pitching staff this season. And looking at the numbers, just when you think she can't get any better, Amy, she does just the opposite. She gets so much better, a 0.75 ERA this season.
Yeah, and when she gets that drop ball, the defense knows they have to be ready every pitch. And last night they came through and got some ground balls and got her out of it. But she has just done a tremendous job this year.
Auburn pitching, constant improvement for the Auburn Tigers under head coach Mickey Dean is, again, Kayla Martin. She is the ace on the staff for Auburn that has 4 pitchers this season, and with Lexi Handley transferring in, Chardonnay Harris, and Ashley Swindle. And, of course, the Tigers are led by second-year head coach Mickey Dean. And for Coach Dean today, this is a special one for him, Amy. He is playing his former team that he coached before James Madison in the Radford Highlanders, so a little reunion for him today.
Not only former team, but former player coaching against, right? And not to be outdone, I think Coach Dean there on the bottom right, he's got 44 wins, leads Radford. But Coach Creasy last year, what, 36?
Yeah, 36 wins. And for Coach Creasy, his former player, that was the most wins of a first-year coach by any player or by any head coach at Radford, except for her former coach in head coach Mickey Dean at the time. And, of course, for Coach Creasy, she played for Radford from 2006 to 2010, won back-to-back Big South regular season and tournament championships in 2009 and 2010. She was an NFCA all-region selection as well. And for Radford, when you look at someone to lead that program, someone that's understood it and been through it, you can't go to a better player than Coach Creasy.
Yep, she knows it inside and out. And like you said, she was an all Big South honoree as an outfielder, and she's 4th in program history in career home runs.
Yeah, for Radford, looking for their first win of the weekend. They're 6-10, and this has been an interesting year for them so far because after such a great year last year, Amy, they're trying to build off of that. They've had a few injuries they've had to deal with this year, and their defense, just everybody's switching around. Everybody's playing a little bit of every position, and this weekend is a big learning test for them to find out who they are and also to establish a little balance in their lineup this year.
Yeah, Coach talked a little bit about that, how the record doesn't really reflect how they've done because, I mean, according to her, they're playing hard, and I don't think she's, pleased necessarily, but she's like, they keep fighting and they're trying to figure each other out, and that's why when you talked about moving players around in the lineup, they're still trying to, get the 9 on the field that are going to be everyday players.
Well, they will be facing an Auburn pitcher and a right-hander in Ashley Swindle. Swindle, a 2.71 ERA. She's 3-2 on the season with 9 appearances, 4 starts, and 2 complete games. She has 31 innings pitched with 13 runs given up, 12 of those earned, 14 walks, 25 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .214 against her, but she is coming off a great outing against Washington, and no question, Amy, she's going to want to build off of that relief performance against the Huskies last week where she went 2 2/3.
Yeah, she pitched about 4 or 5 innings when they were out there at the Judy Garment Classic, but they were quality innings against some quality opponents.
For Radford, it will be Sydney Fisher in the leadoff spot today, and Fisher, one of the few players that was able to have success against Louisville earlier, and she's the table setter. She is the player that Radford's going to look to get it going here early against this Auburn team because Radford is no secret for them. They've got to get the offense going if they want a shot against a high-powered Auburn offensive team.
Yeah, she was 1 for 3 in the first game, and the first 3 out of the 4 hits came from the first 3 batters.
So it's Auburn and Radford in day 2 of the War Eagle Challenge as Mother Nature bumped up today's games to some double headers. Amy, that's a good thing. We get to work together not once but twice today, right?
Yes, Brett. Looking forward to it. And you know what? The weather doesn't look bad at all.
Ashley Swindle delivers to Sydney Fisher, and she delivers a strike into center field. First pitch, and it's a leadoff single for Sydney Fisher. Not a bad way to start for Radford.
That was almost a carbon copy of the hit she got this morning against Louisville, straight up the middle.
So leadoff runner aboard. That'll bring up Hannah Medlin, the left fielder, to the plate. First pitch, a called strike from Swindle. 0-1. And Swindle, she's a pitcher that can hit you with 3 different speeds, Amy. She can hit you in the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. And for her, it's all about hitting spots and getting comfortable.
Yeah, and I know that Radford's top of the lineup is hitting the ball really good for him, but early on in the game, maybe move some runners here.
And Radford this season, they are 28 for 37 stolen bases. Sydney Fisher 10 for 14. 0-2, good eye by Medlin. Lay off the rise ball.
Yeah, Medlin's going to be tough to double up coming out of the left side of the box there, but maybe they can get the lead runner.
Also good speed in Sydney Fisher on first. 1-2's lifted up in the air, shallow center field. It'll drop in the Bermuda Triangle, and it's back-to-back base hits for Radford. Nice job, Fisher and Medlin going to center field twice. And it's first and second, nobody out for the Highlanders.
Off the bat, I thought that had a chance to drop, and when everybody was going after it, second base was left wide open.
So first and second, nobody out. Here's Talia Douglas, the shortstop. Douglas, solid numbers this year, hitting above 300, 7 runs batted in. They'll try to move him over. Is fair. Kendall Veach picks up. McCracken covers first. It's 1 down, and Douglas gets the job done. That selfless softball by the 3-hole hitter, and that moves Fisher up to third and Medlin to second. It's second and third, 1 out.
I really think that's important at the beginning of the game, especially to get out. If you can somehow score first here, maybe put a little pressure on the hitters. I mean, that's really the chance Radford's going to have today.
Well, for Radford, well, they score early. They've been the most successful this year. And Tapia, the right fielder, way out in front on the change. And Swindle, she's throwing a lot of first pitch strikes. That's 3 in a row she's had a first pitch strike on.
Auburn's infield playing in a little bit here, see if they can cut the run off at the plate.
0-1, another bunt. Swindle goes home. The tag in time. Auburn retires Sydney Fisher at home. The bunt does not work. And Auburn has a heads-up play from the starting pitcher, Ashley Swindle.
We'll take another look here. That's a great play by the pitcher, throwing it right down where she slides into it to get the out. Credit to Radford. Any way they can, trying to get a run on the board, but good defense from Auburn.
Runners at second and third with 2 outs. Maggie Rowe, the catcher, to bat.
You know, last night when Auburn had the successful squeeze play, there was no question she was going to be safe at the plate, and sometimes you wonder why the defense just doesn't go to first base and get an out. But that was a great play by Auburn to keep a run off the board.
Auburn's defense has held a shutout through 7 2/3 innings this weekend. Rowe getting a piece of the 1-0. Rowe out of Richmond, Virginia, a senior for the Highlanders. 4 RBIs on the year and doing a nice job catching behind the plate, and she has played some first base this season as well. 1-1 pitch, trying to hold up as a strike anyways. Ashley Swindle's a strike away.
Maggie only has 10 hits on this season, but 5 of those are doubles. If she gets one here, she's going to clear the bases for Radford.
One thing about Rowe, though, she was injured last weekend. She's back in the lineup. Sits back on the change. Carries deep left center field. It's going to drop at the wall. That'll clear the bases. Medlin will score, and Tapia will score. It's 2-0 Radford, and a big 2-out, 2 RBI double for Maggie Rowe.
Here's another look, and you can see that she just kind of throws her bat out there. And she shifts her weight a little bit, but is able to keep her hands back, and then good job keeping her at first base there, but 2 runs for Radford. That's huge.
And Radford coming out, putting some pressure on Auburn here. 2-0 Highlanders, top of the first inning. When Radford scores first in the first inning, they are 2-0 this season. Just something to know for the Highlanders. In that time, Coach Mickey Dean, Amy comes out and has a chat with his defense. Not the start the Tigers were looking for here.
No, he was not happy. He pulled all 9 defensive players together. I think he thought that ball may have been caught in the outfield. Should have been caught.
And with Rowe, correction, I thought she was going to take second there, only took first. It's a 2-out, 2 RBI single with Destiny Freeman taking the first pitch for ball 1. What a job for Maggie Rowe, her 6th RBI of the year. 1-0's in the dirt. Kendall Veach digs it out. And Rowe with no threat at first.
Well, this is exactly the start that Radford needed. Get a couple runs early, and then you never, as a hitter in the box, sometimes just a run on the board can make the at-bats a little more difficult.
Freeman, only a freshman, one of the many freshmen contributing this year for Radford. Radford's a young team. You look at their roster, very few seniors on the roster. They have 4 freshmen in the starting lineup today. Freeman, one of them.
Auburn's got a really big infield here. Just keep it on the dirt, and I think you can get an out at either base.
3-1 punches foul. And yeah, for Radford, again, Coach Creasy trying to build around some youngsters. 5 sophomores, 6 juniors, 4 seniors. Again, with a freshman listed in the starting lineup today, they've got 4 freshmen listed for Radford. And that says something when freshmen can come in, Amy, and contribute from day one, and chance to build something around that freshman class. Payoff pitch, runner will go. It was a 3-2 count, but is called strike 3. So the first strikeout for Swindle. Radford gets 2. So some confusion at home plate.
I think it was ball 4.
We had 3-2. Yeah, ball 4 walked her, so it wasn't strike 3. So Kendall Veach and everyone else thought it was.
We'll see the replay here. This pitch is going to be in the dirt, and the runner takes off to second base. And, of course, Veach immediately throws it down. But it was ball 4. So now we have first and second, 2 outs.
So first and second with Brooke Bond at the plate. First pitch low for ball 1. Radford already down to the 7th batter of the inning. And the 1-0 will miss for ball 2. And it's after Swindle. She started early getting some strikes regardless of giving up a couple base hits to start the game, but getting behind to Freeman and Bond, at least 2-0.
I think he may have called that second pitch there a strike.
So correction, a 1-2 count.
Thank you for your cooperation.
But Swindle, this season has seemed to be more comfortable in a relief role, trying to work out of a jam here in the first. It'll stay in the infield. McCracken calls everybody off, and the inning comes to a close. For Radford, they strike first. Maggie Rowe, a single off the wall is 2-0 Highlanders halfway through the first. Kayla Hoffman takes the circle with a 2-0 lead over the Auburn Tigers in the bottom of the first inning. Hoffman, a senior for Radford, with a 3.57 ERA. She's 2-5 on the season, with 7 appearances and 7 starts. Missing on the first pitch, it'll be Taylon Snow to lead off the game for Auburn. And Auburn, you look 1 through 9, just weapons throughout for the Auburn Tigers. Auburn's offensive numbers this season have been impressive. as the Tigers have outscored opponents 151-37. And for Radford on defense, leading the way at shortstop is Talia Douglas. She's one that has kind of played a little bit of everywhere for Radford. She'll be leading the charge in the middle infield. Correspond on the left side with her, Fisher and Freeman on the right. But in the outfield, that's been the most consistent part of this Radford defense with Medlem, Madry, and Tapia. And it's a leadoff walk for Taylon Snow. And for Snow, the first base runner aboard for Auburn. For Taylon, that's her first walk of the season. And even without a walk, she's still hitting .368 with a .362 on-base percentage.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Auburn needed to go ahead and get their first base runner on here. They need to scratch at least one here in this first inning.
They have the power to do so with Casey McCracken coming to the plate. And with McCracken one hit away from her 100th career base hit as an Auburn Tiger.
You know, I was talking about earlier how I'm a proponent of teams moving runners early in the game. This is one player I would not take the bat out of her hand.
Hitting .452 with 18 runs batted in. Always a power threat with 5 home runs. 1-1, high chopper to short. Douglas charges, throws to first, and McCracken moves the runner up to second, and it's 1 out in the inning.
Yeah, that ball was hit slow enough that Taylon was able to get to second base, so they have a runner in scoring position. Dallisa Rivera at the plate.
And Rivera, she's one that's made an improvement from year to year. Hitting the 300s her freshman season, dropped down a good bit last year, hit well below 300. Trying to square around the bunt here, but this season, she has made a huge improvement for Auburn, hitting .351 with 15 runs batted in. And she passed the century mark as Casey McCracken's trying to do a couple weeks ago. Lifted into straightaway center field. Tough ball carrying back to the wall. And Madre makes the play. Taylon Snow will round third, heading towards home, but she's called back after the throw.
It's a great job by Taylon Snow rounding the base hard. You could see Coach Dean telling her to go and then hold her up when she got just a little bit around the bag. Make them make the throw, make them make the play. And credit to Radford, they did.
Well, the ball is carrying well in J.B. Moore Field today. That's the second routine fly ball. You can see the American flag whipping there. That's the second fly ball is carried to the outfield wall. Looks routine, looks like it's going to die in the center of the outfield, but instead it keeps going and going, and that's 2 almost home runs today.
Yeah, and the poor outfielders keep drifting and then reach up, and it's not making it look easy for sure.
And Snow with a first pitch or second pitch strike. Snow with her 7th homer of the season last night. A solo shot in the 5th against Michigan State. But she hit well last night for Auburn. 2 for 3 in that game. And most importantly, took care of business with runners on third. But for Auburn, they have power. And here's another 2-out RBI single for Taylon Snow, and the Tigers on the board. And Taylon Snow now leading all Auburn Tigers with 21 RBIs.
You take another look at this. Tannen just crushes it right back up the middle. That's what you teach hitters all the time, right back at the pitcher. And again, if I recall the last time we were in here, we were just watching 2-out hit after 2-out hit for Auburn.
That's where Auburn the last 3 weeks has improved drastically. And Taylon Snow, she had an identical hit last night. Same situation, runner at third, 2 outs, and drove one back up the middle for an RBI base hit. Now Kendall Veach, who's 1 RBI behind her, will try to extend the first inning. First 2 missing down for Kayla Hoffman.
And you know, the scouting report we had on Huffman was she liked to throw a rise, curve, and we're seeing her right now keeping the ball down, which is what I would do on these Auburn hitters also.
Goes up with a rise there, it'll miss. Yeah, with a 3-0 count. Rowe will call time. They'll come out with a quick chant. I think this is just to get on the same page here, Amy, as the last three nowhere close.
Yeah, and this early in the game, you would think that they would not be pitching around Kendall Veach with 2 outs. I mean, you don't want to put somebody in scoring position, but I also don't blame him. She's swinging the bat really well.
3-0, tucks it underneath the belt for a called strike. And Hoffman just trying to get back in the dugout with a 1-run lead here. Give up 1, trying to hold it at 1. And finds the strike zone on the outside corner. Nice pitch.
The 3-2. Tannen will be off with the pitch here, and outfield is fairly deep.
Payoff lifted first base side. Charging is Freeman. And Radford holds on to the lead after 1. Tannen Snow drives in the first. It's 2-1 Radford after 1 in Auburn. Things warming up in the loveliest village on the plains. Started the week in the 40s Tuesday and Wednesday. Now we're up to 70, 72 to be exact here this afternoon at J.B. Moore Field. Had the weather adjust the schedule of the War Eagle Challenge this weekend. 5 games here on this Friday. 5 games tomorrow, and then only 2 games scheduled for Sunday. Maybe lucky to get those in, as it started with a 99% chance of rain. So instead, the Auburn Tigers playing a doubleheader with Radford and Mercer tonight. To lead off the seconds, Ellie Rowe punches 1 foul to the third base line. Auburn's defense, the talk of the night last night. Tannen Snow at third base, and Case McCracken making a nice diving stop or two. Taylon Snow turning a 6-4-3 double play, and Auburn's defense helping out the Tiger pitching. 0-1, little blue fly ball. McCracken retreats, and it's 1 down.
That's a good start for Swindle. She wanted to come out this after that first inning, facing 7 hitters. Getting that first out of the second inning is big.
In the outfield for Auburn, Carmen Greenwood, the redshirt sophomore, making another start this season. I believe this is her 7th start of the season. Next batter up is Lauren Madry. Madry hitting in the 9th spot of the order. One of 2 juniors in the lineup today with a .273 average and a .273 on-base percentage. Has not walked yet this season.
Yeah, she struck out a couple times this morning and then was pinch hit for. So Swindle should probably just come right at her.
1-1's away. 2 balls and a strike. Yeah, big for players to try to have a short memory, Amy, when going from game to game. Because if you're not careful, it can affect you. And with Taylon Snow taking care of business on the chopper at short. And Ashley Swindle has retired the last 3 Highlander hitters dating back to the first inning.
Easier said than done, Brett, when failing 7 out of 10 times is a good thing.
I was one of those that failed 10 out of 10. It's back to the top in Sydney Fisher. Fisher got the rally going with a leadoff single in the first inning. And there you see the best pitch that Ashley Swindle has to offer. When it's on, her changeup is deadly.
Yeah, and that's the second time I've seen her throw it, both for a strike. We'll see if she mixes it in a little more as the game goes on.
And for Fisher, she only saw 1 pitch, singled on the first pitch of the ballgame back in the first inning. For Fisher, out of Appling, Georgia, Lakeside High School, a Georgia Southern transfer.
There it is again with the changeup. Take a look at it right here. Throwing that flip, backhand flip change. Sydney Fisher just a little ahead of it. I was going to tell you, Brett, do you know who Fisher's related to?
It's probably going to be obvious.
No, it's not.
Lay it on me.
They've got some softball blood in the family. Michelle Moultrie, former center fielder at Florida.
Very good.
Team USA.
Yeah, Moultrie, one of the best players ever out of Gainesville. The 2-2 pitch is punched foul, quickly called by the home plate umpire. Auburn threw to first for insurance. I immediately thought of the former Los Angeles Laker point guard. Derek Fisher. I was like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not doing it, but that's who came to mind. Be a cool bloodline there. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Fisher. And the change just high.
Great discipline by Fisher at the plate there, laying off of that.
Well, Fisher, a disciplined hitter with an average of 450. Changeup, and Swindle wins the battle. First strikeout of the day. It's a 1-2-3 inning. Headed to the bottom of the second. Auburn will try to get one back. It's 2-1 Radford. Brittany Marissette leading off the bottom of the second for Auburn. Takes a first pitch strike from Kayla Hoffman. Marissette will push a bunt first base side. Is called foul by the home plate umpire. No, she's called out of the batter's box. And Marissette has been retired.
Let's take a look at this here, Brett. See if the ball hit her. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Comes up and hits her in the foot there. She's out of the box.
Radford catching a break. And a tough weekend continues for Brittany Marissette, who was 0 for 3 last night after having the best weekend of any Auburn hitter in the Judy Garman Classic last week. And Justice Perry steps in next for Auburn, batting 7th this afternoon. That's where she's kind of lived the last couple of weeks. Down the order, started the season batting up around the 5th or 6th spot. And still hitting .333 for Auburn.
Yeah, and as a pitcher and a defense, and you have to face Snow, McCracken, Rivera, Snow, Veach, and then you kind of like, okay, take a deep breath. Well, you cannot.
That's one of the pluses of having Justice Perry so far down in the order, because on a lot of teams, when Perry's on, I mean, she's one of those, she could be a cleanup hitter as good as she is.
For sure.
2 balls and a strike on Perry. On the ground to third. Fair ball? No. Called foul. Brooke Bond was all over it. Would have had a play at first.
That was awful close. I mean, that almost looked like he was going to go over the bag, but the umpire was all over it.
Yeah, Bond fielded it just a step to the left of the third base bag, facing the bag. I think Perry's happy about it. She gets another opportunity. Line drive, right field side. Sydney Fisher going up to get it.
And after that foul ball, she goes outside. Perry stays on it, and all you can ask is a hitter to hit the ball hard, and that's what she did. Just a great play by the second baseman, Fisher.
Yeah, Fisher showing a little range, of course. Helped her out being glove side. Carmen Greenwood will try to spark a 2-out rally for Auburn. Kayla Hoffman throwing a good second inning. The first inning was all about offense. The second inning been dominated by the pitchers of Auburn and Radford.
Yeah, and this is the last weekend here before they go into SEC play, playing Texas A&M, and I think there are still a few players that Coach Dean is rotating in and out and trying to figure out who's going to be an everyday starter for him.
Carmen Greenwood, one of those players, goes opposite field to left field. Medlem late getting there. It's a 2-1 count as Greenwood making her 7th start of the season. After redshirting last year with an injury, kind of splitting time this year with Bree Fornes. And I think what it's going to come down to, Amy, is who gets the bat going for Auburn in that position.
Yeah, and that's a really tough thing to ask of a player when you're not an everyday player to come in. Sometimes you can put a little more pressure on yourself than you should. And, you know, credit to Greenwood and Fornes and Marissette. Like, they have really done a good job of taking their opportunities when they get them.
Hard grounder. Fisher stays down, delivers to Freeman, and a 1-2-3 inning for Radford. Through 2 in Auburn. The Highlanders lead the Tigers by 1. Top of the third inning, the Highlanders trying to make a statement in the loveliest village on the plains. They lead Auburn 2-1 with a chance to add some extra runs here in the third inning. And for Radford this season, they have not beat a Power 5 school yet. Lost a close one to Iowa State 2-1 and played a Virginia Tech team that is 16-3 on the regular season. So one that Coach Creasy and her team can learn from, as Virginia Tech, they split 2 games with the Georgia Bulldogs last weekend.
Yeah, and this morning they played Louisville and lost 1-0, and then Louisville turned around and beat Michigan State 14-1. So, like she said, they're playing some quality ball and they're playing some good opponents. They're just trying to put it all together at this point.
1-0 pitch to Medlum. Will miss off the plate. 2 balls and those strikes. Medlum, she was the first run to score today. 1 for 1. Started the day building off of Sydney Fisher's leadoff single in the first inning. Average bumps up to 360. And this is for Radford what they were missing in the first game against Louisville. Piecing together some base hits, putting the pressure on the opposition.
Yeah, and you're in the third inning here, and you're already facing the pitcher for the second time around.
But with Coach Creasy, you talk about her bunch. She said, hey, we're learning. We're not scared to play anybody. They're focused more on themselves and trying to improve, trying to get better for conference play, because they know that's where the fun begins. And a hard bouncer through the left side for a leadoff base hit. And Hannah Medlum, a perfect 2 for 2 to start the ball game.
She takes it to the left side of the infield again, keeps her hands inside and drives it over there. She's having a good day at the plate so far.
On for Radford. And in the Big South, they were picked 3rd in the preseason poll behind Longwood and USC Upstate. All teams that are frequent visitors of the NCAA tournament. But what's key in that conference, hey, you got to win the conference tournament. And playing teams like Auburn, coming to a non-conference tournament like this one, prepares them. Lifted in the air by Tapia. In the straightaway center. And Morgan Padani checks the runner back to first for the out.
Yeah, I think that's, when you're going to go out and you're going to play some quality competition like they showed Virginia Tech, and they've come here to Louisville and playing Auburn. They go back, regardless of what the record is, even if it's not the greatest, they were preparing themselves for conference play. And like you said, they're in a conference in a position where they have to win to move on.
And correction, that was Talia Douglas on the out here. Sophia Tapia to the plate, the right fielder. Tapia reaching on a fielder's choice. Taking a strike low at the knees, and Tapia, she was one that reached on the missed squeeze attempt to try and score Sydney Fisher.
Swindle's doing a good job, like you said, at the first inning. She was throwing a lot of strikes, getting ahead of hitters, and she's doing the same thing here, but as a hitter, you know it's coming. And so they are, credit to Radford, prepared to swing the bat.
Playing off the rise, Tapia had 3 balls and a strike. And Tapia this year has walked more than any player on Radford's team. She has 12 walks. The next closest is 4 by Hannah Medlum. And walks for the 13th time. She has reached base twice today. Runners at first and second, 1 out. And Medlum and Tapia both times finding ways on base.
Here's Maggie Rowe again. Last time she took it, she was the 2 RBIs deep to left center.
Yeah, singled off the left center field wall. Has 6 RBIs on the season after the single. And you can see Ashley Swindle wanting no part of Maggie Rowe after that single in the first inning.
If Swindle can get a ground ball here, Auburn may be able to get out of the inning.
Chopped foul off the plate by the redshirt senior. Well, for Auburn, too, I think you have to be thinking double play. They got out of a bases-loaded, no-out jam last night against Michigan State, held on to record their 7th shutout of the season. And for Swindle here, she rolls a ground ball. She's got some very good middle infielders to take care of business. She'll get it. Snow to McCracken. They'll get one. The throw to first. The stretch from Perry. And a 6-4-3 double play. Defense, the name of the game for the orange and blue. Snow, McCracken, Perry, and the Tigers down 1, headed to the bottom of the 3rd. Morgan Padani leading off the bottom of the 3rd for Auburn. Tying run at the plate after a 2 RBI single by Radford in the 1st inning. Auburn gets one back with an RBI single from Tannen Snow in the 1st. And Morgan Padani flies one to left. Bedlam doesn't have to move, and it's one down.
That's 4 straight outs now for Radford, and you can see there's action in both bullpens.
This is the 2nd time around for Auburn. I think the leash is going to be short on Kayla Hoffman if she gets into trouble. Taylor Snow taking a first pitch strike after walking and scoring a run in the 1st inning. Because Radford, you got to look at it this way. Auburn's a good team at adjusting at the plate. They are better the 2nd and 3rd times around. And for Radford, you got a 1-run lead on a top 25 team. I think we may see them change some looks, especially this is their 2nd game of the day.
Yeah, and they have 4 pitchers on staff, and Coach Creasy said they all give you a different look.
Taylor Snow finds a gap in left center field, rounding first, headed for 2nd, and is nowhere close. Bedlam to Fisher for the tag, and Taylor Snow is thrown out trying to stretch a single into a double. Nice play by the Highlander defense.
You can appreciate the effort by Taylor Snow, but it was a great throw. And she was out. I mean,
yeah.
She was out. The throw beat her for sure.
Throw and the tag. And it's 7-4 on the putout. So Auburn runs themselves in and out. Here's Casey McCracken, jam back to the pitcher, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Kayla Hoffman. The end of 3. Upset alert in Auburn. It's 2-1 Radford. Cruising right along at Jane B. Moore Field, already in the top of the 4th inning with Radford and Auburn. Radford 4 hits, 2 runs. Auburn limited to 1 run off 2 hits through 3 innings of play. Ashley Swindle goes back to work for the Auburn Tigers. And I think for those sitting in the stands today, you have to respect who's in the visiting dugout here in this first game today, Amy.
Absolutely, and we talked at the beginning of the broadcast, that Radford, the top of their lineup, has been getting the job done for them, and they did it again. And when you get an early lead on any team, it doesn't matter who it is. Sometimes you can press a little bit in the batter's box, and the last couple innings, you can see that's what Auburn's done. So maybe swing at some pitches they wouldn't otherwise, stretch a single into a double.
Well, and for Radford, they are 2-0 this season when scoring first. They dropped 2 in the 1st inning, and they are hanging on by a thread with a 2-1 lead in the top of the 4th inning. Destiny Freeman to lead it off, facing Swindle for the 2nd time today. And Freeman won the first battle with a walk in the first. One 0 pitch will miss.
You can see Swindle, she's throwing the ball hard. I mean, 68 miles an hour. And if they can barrel it up, they're hitting it. They're taking it out to the outfield. So maybe mix that changeup in a little more, slow the bats down.
Hard bouncer goes off the leg of Swindle. Perry corrals, and the race back to first is late. An infield single, Destiny Freeman. She smoked that ball back to the pitching circle.
Yeah, 2-0 pitch, and again, she's waiting for it and barrels it up, and she hits it hard. There's nothing Perry could do there.
Now batting the third baseman, number 23, Brooke Bond.
And for Swindle, she says she's fine, doesn't want any medical attention in the circle. She's ready to go back to work. She got a 6-4-3 double play to end the third. And Brooke Bond offering at the first pitch. Bond, some good stats, hitting in the 7th spot of the order. Native of Hampton, Virginia, a freshman, one of 3 freshmen in the lineup today.
And she leads the team with 3 home runs. So I think I would be careful pitching to her here in the wheelhouse.
That's a hard liner. That'll go foul. Yeah, Bond listed as a utility player. She was an all-state selection and all-region selection in high school.
Radford is not getting cheated at the plate today. They have come out, they're swinging early in the count, and they're getting their cuts in. And when they make contact, I mean, they have really hit it solid up the middle, out into left center.
Well, you got to give credit to the players and the coaching staff with the approach coming in, not being intimidated by a top 25 ranked team.
You can't tell me there's not a little something extra there for Coach Creasy, too.
Oh, because think about Radford from their point of view. All right, you're 6-10. You're trying to build with some younger classmen in your lineup. Only in her 2nd season. All right, you've got nothing to lose coming out today and giving Auburn everything you've got. 1-2 pitch hit well down the left field line, but it takes an Auburn turn foul. That could have more than doubled the lead if it stayed fair.
And you're playing against your former coach. Who doesn't want to win that game?
Yeah. 1-2, the changeup, snap throw to first. Diving back safely is Freeman, and Brooke Bond retired on strikes. The 2nd strikeout for Swindle.
This is the pitch that Swindle needs to keep throwing. I mean, when you're sitting dead red and you're swinging freely, that's what you're going to look like on a changeup.
It's a spot of the order I'm sure Swindle wants to get through. Rowe and Madry 8 and 9 in the order. Because you have Fisher, Medlem, and Douglas and Tapia. They've been the problems today for Radford 1 through 5.
Yeah, you don't want to turn it over to the top with runners on here.
Rowe 0 for 1. Rowe, the sister of catcher Maggie Rowe. Ellie Rowe, the designated player.
I'm just talking about all the sister affairs we have today with Michigan State and, of course, the Snow sisters.
Had a pair last night. Eccles' sister from Michigan State. And Ellie Rowe, she transferred from Valdosta State, redshirted the 2018 season. Hard bouncer, backhand, Snow. McCracken turning for 2. It's high, and they'll say Perry's off the bag.
I think I would ask on that one.
The crowd definitely thought so. Let's see what Coach Mickey Dean says.
The home plate umpire had a great view.
Yeah.
I mean, here it is again. A great turn by McCracken getting it off.
Yeah.
And it looks like her heel comes up, but I don't think her toe came off the bag. And this will be yep. From that angle, you can see it. It was a good call.
Yeah, just came off the bag there. From our angle watching it live, it looked good, but watching the replay, great work by our camera crew, giving us the view. And
I mean, you can see why Coach Dean thinks so. From
Yeah,
when it happened live, it really did look like she stuck the bag.
From his angle, you're thinking from where Perry's body is kind of blocking the view, and the angle of the bag, you can't really tell from the third base Auburn dugout. Close enough to ask, but credit to the first base umpire. That definitely was the right call. It was 2 outs in the inning.
And all the umpires coming together, talking about it, and getting the right call. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you want.
Runner at first, 2 outs. It's the ninth batter in Madry. First pitch is a strike.
But how about that play by Taylon Snow?
Yeah.
Getting the lead runner, and then McCracken making sure of one and almost turning it again.
Well, and I thought that one had the velocity to give Auburn a double play. And it just missed. But I think McCracken, she'll go back. She'll say, guys, that's one I should have had. McCracken asked her in the preseason, hey, if Auburn was going to get back to turning some double plays this season, she said, we better. Tough play. Swindle up with it to first in time. Bang, bang at first. Nothing across for Radford in the fourth. Headed to the home half. Auburn will try to tie it after this. Everybody in the state of Alabama is Lee County strong after Sunday, May 3rd. Devastating EF4 tornado ripped through Lee County, Alabama. Is where Auburn, Alabama and Auburn University calls home, and the neighboring communities of Beauregard and Smith Station, Alabama, just absolutely demolished. And the American flag at half-staff today across the state and here at J.B. Moore Field in Auburn. And Amy Reef, just a horrific week in Lee County, but everybody's banding together. The university, all the neighboring schools, community, churches, everybody's won this week in Lee County, and Auburn softball doing their part to show respect to the tornado victims.
There's been a really tremendous outpouring of support because, it just terrible, terrible event. And I know that we've had a lot of teams that are staying on campus through spring break, and they're going to go volunteer.
Well, I'm talking to the head coaches around Auburn, Alabama this week. Called the coach, Mickey Dean, and heard some press conferences from Coach Bruce Pearl and even Butch Thompson, Auburn's baseball coach. And, that's the first thing that everybody's mentioned this week. They know it's the elephant in the room. It's the one thing that, and they all said that, hey, there are just certain things that are bigger than ball.
Yeah, and so many people initially reached out that Lee County had to say, we have a lot of help right now, and give us a couple days. And so that's what we've done. So this week, a lot of students are staying back from spring break instead of going home, and are going to stay and help.
Bottom of the fourth in Auburn in the War Eagle Challenge. Dallisa Rivera lifts one in the left. Medlem racing down the line and gives Kayla Hoffman her first down of the fourth inning. We have not talked enough about how Kayla Hoffman has kept Auburn off balance. Hoffman, the senior pitcher, with a 3.57 ERA coming in, 2-5 on the regular season, and she is giving it her all today.
No, we keep talking about how great the hitters are and the hitters that she's facing, and so far that's 7. She's sat down 7 straight right now.
Hoffman out of King Williams, Virginia. One player, the speeder today, Tannen Snow. She drops one inside the right field line. Headed for second, standing up. And it's a one-out double for Auburn's Tannen Snow. And if there's one player that's been successful, is her. She's 2 for 2 and has Auburn with a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, leave it to Tannen. I mean, she's just been getting the job done over and over, and she does it again there, driving it down the right field line. Just bounces in fair. I thought for a second Coach Dean was going to maybe send her to third, but after Taylon got thrown out second last inning, let's hold her up there and see if we can push a run across and tie the game.
Well, this is Tannen Snow's third consecutive multi-hit games. Had 3 against Washington with a 3-run blast, 2 for 3 last night with a home run, 2 RBIs. Kendall Veach skies one straightaway center field. Madry is there for the catch, just 2 outs.
And again, how about Huffman? Gives up a double and then comes right back and gets a ball in on Veach's hands and gets her to pop it up.
Well, for Hoffman, it's simple. She's staying with her approach. And the Tigers are going to have a pinch hitter coming to the plate. Coach Mickey Dean pitch hitting for the designated player, Brittany Marisette. And it'll be Aspen Godwin, the freshman out of Silver Hill, Alabama, in Daphne High School. And Godwin, she was a highly thought of player coming out of Baldwin County. As Godwin this season already is 5 for 8 with a double, a home run, and 3 runs batted in.
We talk about Coach Dean, again, mixing in some players here and there. And, I mean, who's going to be the one to come in? Because this is a pressure situation, and you want to be successful. You want to have a good at-bat here, but that's easier said than done.
Godwin taking outside, 2 balls, no strikes. Well, and for Auburn and Godwin, what does that say about Coach Mickey Dean and the confidence he has in his freshman? Chases a high one.
I mean, I think it speaks volumes. I mean, you're coming in here, it's getting decently late in the game, it's 2 outs, and you need that run to score. I mean, you have to know as a hitter, if I'm being put in this position, that my coach believes I can do it.
Godwin, a 3-time All-State catcher for the Daphne Trojans, and she was also the 2016 Class 6A Hitter of the Year. And she did that as a sophomore. Hoffman living up at the zone on Godwin, trying to get her to bite.
And, you know, there's no one holding Snow on second base right now. I feel like her secondary lead could be much bigger. This run is important. The outfield's playing in a little bit.
Godwin offering at a pitch just close enough. Could have been ball 4, but doing a good job protecting the plate. And this is where the game is. These are the moments in the game that can come up big or can turn drastic for a team. 3-2, line drive back up the middle. Snow being waved home by Dean. Snow will call score standing up in a 2-out RBI pinch hit single for the freshman Aspen Godwin, coming up in clutch for Auburn.
What a great job. She works the count to 3-2, knows that she's going to get something to hit. And we'll get a look at it right here. Just drives it up the middle. And I guess Snow was getting a big enough lead to score, huh?
But no, a valid point, because you know a ball in the outfield has a chance. And boy, Aspen Godwin, she has turned into a pinch hitting machine this year for Auburn. That is now her 6th base hit of the year. She's 6 for 9. And Perry offers at the first pitch, just fouls it back. And
you know, sometimes that's all it takes. Just one big hit right here, tie the game up, and the floodgates can open.
Well, the dimensions of the field really helped Perry out there, because Maggie Rowe had a great jump on that ball. So now for Hoffman, how do you come back and respond? Had 2 scoreless innings in the 2nd and 3rd. Gives up the lead here in the bottom of the 4th.
Well, I think it's important for Radford just to get out of this inning. You're not going to hold Auburn scoreless, most likely.
Lifted in the air to left. It'll stay in the ballpark. Medlem hauls it in, and Auburn gets one back. A 2-out pinch hit RBI single for the freshman Aspen Godwin. Through 4 complete, Auburn and Radford all square at 2. Top of the 5th inning was turning into be a gorgeous afternoon in Auburn, Alabama. Have a good ball game on our hands. Radford all squared Auburn, tied at 2. Radford struck first with a 2-0 lead in the top of the 1st inning. Auburn got one back in the 1st inning and got one back in the 4th inning. For the Tigers today, the difference has been 2-out hitting. Tannen Snow and Aspen Godwin with 2-out RBI singles today. And Ashley Swindle trying to keep Radford off the scoreboard for the 4th consecutive inning. She's got to go through the top 3 hitters. And Sydney Fisher delivers a laser foul, 0-1.
New game, Brett.
Whole new ball game. Back to 0. And for Fisher, 1 for 2 in this outing thus far. Here's a push bunt. And the home plate umpire calls her out of the batter's box. Second time that's been called today. Brittany Marisette was called on the same thing.
Take a look at it here. She just tries to surprise the, yep, and you can see her left foot steps right out there in front of the plate.
Credit to the home plate umpire. And he's gotten it right both times today. One against Auburn, one against Radford. That's not an easy call to make.
No, I mean, he's watching the zone, pitcher, and now getting the, I didn't see it.
Well, I'll say this. I say it every broadcast at least once. The men and women that wear blue, hats off to them. It's a tough job. Not many can do it. And Hannah Medlem in the hole 0-2.
I had a very short stint. I'll have to tell you that story sometime.
Not for air?
No.
Not for air?
No, so credit to the people who keep going out there because it is not easy.
What age group?
Oh, it was a 5th grade.
Popped up third base side. Snow back on the run and loses track of it. Tough play off the tip of the glove.
That's tough. She must have, I mean, she's doing what you're taught. You put the glove up there and try to block it, and then it's the last second. She must have lost it. We saw that happen last night a little deeper down that line.
Medlem gets another chance. Who's been the toughest out today? She's 2 for 2 with a single, a double, and a run scored.
So it was a 5th grade Catholic youth organization. Yeah, the coach let me have it. I teed him up, and that was the end.
1-2. Punches on the ground, a changeup, and it gets past Perry into right field. And Hannah Medlem reaches on an error this time, but the 3rd time today she's reached base.
Yeah, and you can see Perry say, "My bad," and that's coming off as an infielder right there. Even if you don't make that play, you got to get your body in front of it, knock it down, and then you'll have time to get the out.
Yeah, went off the hill of the glove. Didn't get her body in front, and now it's a runner at first with 1 out. Here's Douglas.
That's tough for Swindle. I mean, you tie the game, the bottom of the 4th, and you come up, you want to put a 0. And now we got a runner on after you gave up a ground ball.
Chopper, McCracken tags the runner for 1, throws to first for 2, and double play. Casey McCracken, the senior second baseman, does it all by herself. And the
It's
Tigers.
a good play by McCracken, but if this base runner stops and even goes backwards, they're still hitting this inning.
For 1, throws to first over the runner for 2. A close play, taking another look. Looks like the runner was safe there, beating that ball out into Leah Douglas. But McCracken gets the call in Auburn's favor.
Yeah, and that's a bang-bang play. So if that runner going from first to second just stops and avoids the tag or comes back and has McCracken chase after her, then at least 1 runner is safe.
Carmen Greenwood leads off the inning attempting a bunt. Greenwood with a ground down to second. In her first at bat today, punches 1 foul on the 1-0.
I think that's a bad thought this there. Find a way to get on, make Radford make a play at this point. It's getting late in the game. Any way you can to scratch a run at this point.
Yeah, each team running out of opportunities here in the bottom of the 5th. Fly ball to left. Medlem's there. It is 1 down. And for Medlem, that is the
8th. Fly ball out?
Yeah.
That's what I was just about to count, too.
And the 4th to Medlem and left.
Yeah. She's doing a great job. I mean, at some point, these hitters need to make an adjustment.
But Danny to the plate, also a victim of Medlem today. She's 0 for 1. Padani's one of those players that strategically I like at the bottom of the order for Auburn just because of the on-base percentage. A player that walks a decent amount. Was 7 on the year, and the on-base percentage just under 400.
Yeah, and good speed, so if you get on, then stealing a base is definitely a possibility.
Yeah, 4 for 4 stolen bases. And for right now, Auburn, that's all they're looking for out of their 9-hole hitter. Roll it back over to the top. And Hoffman, after starting the day lower in the zone, she's starting to shift upwards a little bit as this game has gone on, but she's had success both north and south of the zone.
Yeah, and you know, with all of the hitters popping it up, she must have just a little natural rise on it regardless of where it is in the zone.
Morgan Padani walking for the 8th time this year. Puts a runner at first with 1 out.
I think we're going to see some movement here. Put a runner in motion, get the defense moving.
Auburn, a team, they are aggressive. 38 for 46 on stolen bases this year, and Auburn has not attempted a stolen base against Radford. Snow today reaching base twice. Walked, scored a run in the first, singled last at bat in the third. Sophomore that went as close to home as she's going to get in her Auburn career last weekend as Auburn played a tournament in Fullerton, California. Snow from Chino Hills. Slow roller to second. Fisher goes to second for 1, and she's safe. The speed of Padani is too much. And it's first and second, nobody out.
This is just a routine ground ball any other time, but when you're running hard like that, and then, yeah, she beat it there. What a great job by Morgan. And now you've got 1 out, runner in scoring position, and McCracken at the plate.
Well, and for Fisher there, if she went to first, would have traded a runner in scoring position for an out, and now that would only be 1 more out in the inning. Now, because you're trying to get the lead runner, is first and second with only 1 out.
Yeah, valid point, but off the bat, I absolutely thought she had a chance at her. Morgan was just cooking.
McCracken with a hitter's count, 2 balls, no strikes. McCracken 0 for 2 in this one.
I think for McCracken, it's just a matter of time here, and with the 2-0 count.
Here's a liner, second base, playing the hop is Fisher, goes to first for 2, and he gets away. Coming home to score is Padani, and an error for Radford gives Auburn a 1-run lead in the 5th.
And McCracken ends up at third base on that. So Morgan starts it by beating this routine ground ball to second base, and then McCracken again to second base. They're going to talk about it now. But you can see, again, the infielder just doesn't keep it in front. It's a tough throw. Able to push a run across, and then McCracken does not stop. It gets all the way to third.
And Auburn has done all of this inning without a base hit. It was a 1-out walk to Padani. Fielder's choice by Taylon Snow. Then McCracken has a fielder's choice. And another look.
I mean, she does a great job. That ball kind of comes up on her, making sure of 1. And then just a tough throw in the dirt. And Auburn takes advantage.
And for the error, it'll go on Fisher at second base. So Auburn a chance with insurance here. They've been good with 2-out hitting. Taylon Snow with a 2-out RBI base hit. Aspen Godwin with a 2-out RBI base hit. And Dallisa Rivera will have an opportunity to do the same. And right now, each run counting.
And to your point earlier, Brett, had she not gone to second base and tried to get the lead runner, they'd be out of this inning right now.
Chopper, tough play, scooped up by Douglas, an infield base hit, and an RBI for Dallisa Rivera. 2-out hitting continues to be the difference for the Auburn Tigers.
Not only the 2-out hitting, but the base running. Every player this inning has run hard, and you can see she puts it on the ground, and then she is just getting down the line as hard as she can. And a great play, but the throw is just off enough, and Dallisa beats it out.
And this Auburn team, 29 doubles, 5 triples, 30 home runs this year. Liner Tannen Snow is robbed down by Sydney Fisher, and the inning comes to a close. For Auburn, they get 2 runs. The ball never leaves the infield. Through 5, it's Auburn 4, Radford 2. Auburn 17-4, trying to improve to 18-4, leading Radford 4-2. Auburn's been good this season, allowing only 2 runs or less in 16 of its 21 games. The Tigers have been tested against 3 top 25 ranked teams, and Auburn, they run-ruled Oregon 8-0 in 5 innings last week and had Washington, the number 5 team in the country, on their heels and just let it slip away. But Tigers trying to finish non-conference play of weekend play this weekend before starting Southeastern Conference play next weekend. They'll get the Texas A&M Aggies, a team that I'm sure Auburn remembers from last year, swept the Tigers in College Station.
Yeah, and it's a long season. You play a lot of games, and some games are rougher than others. Sometimes that's a sign of a good team. Like right now, if Auburn ends up pulling this one out, it was not easy. And you just got to kind of push through it and make things happen, and that's what they did last inning.
As Tapia fouls it off, 1 ball, 2 strikes, and both of these teams here, because, you know, you look in the SEC, and every time an SEC or a Pac-12 team, they play a mid-major team, they think, oh, well, they're supposed to run rule them, or, oh, they're supposed to win by this many runs. No, in this game, everybody gets tested. Ball dies at second base. McCracken there to play the hop for the out, and it's 1 down. Yeah, and people don't realize that in baseball, softball, both, you are going to get tested by the mid-majors, the Power 5s, everybody you play. Hey, when you win in 5 innings, when you run rules, score a lot of runs, great. That doesn't happen every time out. And that's why you play games like this. You play teams like Radford to get tested.
Absolutely, and it's, you know, physically and mentally. And you can look here what they're about to go into. I mean, they start with Texas A&M. They need to get some wins this weekend and the next weekend, because what they face after that is one top 25 team after another.
Diving
oh, my
effort.
goodness.
Dallisa Rivera laying out with a web jam in right. And Maggie Rowe robbed of her second base hit of the ball game.
It's one of my favorite plays, full extension. I think somebody needs to call SportsCenter.
Well, Rivera, she's been on SportsCenter a time or 2 in her career. As Freeman takes a pitch inside low for a ball. And Rivera's first weekend truly in the starting lineup when she broke through her freshman season, it was in Athens, Georgia. She made 3 plays in the outfield in Athens. I think 2 of the 3 ended up on SportsCenter's top 10 in the same weekend. And Rivera often referred to as, if not the most, one of the most athletic players on Auburn's roster, and it shows.
Well, when you get a chance to make a play like that, I've never understood why. There's nobody on. There's 2 out,
Yeah.
1 out at that time, or foul territory. I've never understood why people don't just go at it because you get a chance to look like that.
Rivera helping out her pitcher in Ashley Swindle. Has a 2-run lead off 5 hits. 1-2 change. Beautiful pitch.
That was close.
I think that ball, it broke just off the outside part of the plate. Swindle back to work. Freeman in the air to right. Rivera on the run. This one out of reach. Plays it off the wall. Freeman cruising into second base. And a big 2-out double by Destiny Freeman. That'll bring the tying run to the plate for Radford.
Great job by Freeman, working herself back in the count, not swinging at that changeup off the plate, and then Swindle comes back with it again. She's able to stay back on it and drive it back to right.
Freeman's second double of the year for the Highlanders.
Off the bat, I thought Rivera was going to give us another one.
Yeah, once it got up there, the wind helped it out. This one will stay in the infield, and Kendall Veach takes a step and makes the outs. We head to the bottom of the 6th, and Dallisa Rivera, a web gem in right, keeps the Tigers with a 2-run lead. Hannah Morris, the Durham, North Carolina native, on the pitch for Radford. She's relieving Hoffman, who went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs. 2 of those were earned. The defense having a few errors, giving up the lead for Radford today. And for Morris, she's coming in with a 3.91 ERA. She has 7 appearances, all in relief, 14 in a third innings pitch with 14 hits, 11 runs, 8 earned, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Facing Auburn's Kendall Veach in the middle of the Tiger order here in the bottom of the 6th.
Coach Creasy said that she's going to be a completely different look just in terms of velocity, and the Auburn hitters are going to have to make an adjustment here.
Has lots of spin. Good example of it right there. And she's going to drop speed about 8 to 10 miles per hour from what you'll see from Kayla Hoffman. A 1-1. Veach sits back on a change, carrying to left center field, and it's out of here. Kendall Veach. That's number 8 of the season for the Auburn senior. Tigers extended 5-2.
Well, it looks like Kendall Veach did a good job making an adjustment. This one's very similar to last night. She just drives through it. I mean, so much power that she can just take right through the ball. Last night was a little more to left field, but that one you knew off the bat.
Well, and for Veach, like you said, a great job adjusting because I spoke with Tigers assistant coach Eddie Kettlehut after last weekend in California, and who Auburn played Texas San Antonio and Loyola Marymount in the first games out there, and he said, hey, Auburn has to adjust. Our hitters have to adjust to good pitching coming from Coach Kettlehut. And he said what he's trying to get his hitters to understand is, hey, you have to be able to hit slow pitching too, and that can be harder for hitters sometimes than hitting the hard stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what, as a pitcher, that's all you're trying to do is keep hitters off balance, and whether that's changing planes, changing speeds. So when it happens, your first at bat that you come out, you're facing a completely different pitcher and you put it over the fence. I mean, mentally, you're just ready to hit.
Changeup, slow roller, just turns foul, 0-2. Well, and for Aspen Godwin, she's coming back to the plate after a huge 2-out RBI base hit. It was a pinch hit in the 4th inning for Brittany Marisette.
I mean, she really changed the game at that point. I think Auburn was really pressing at the plate and maybe even a little defensively. And she took that pitch up the middle, tied the game, and now you can just see that they've relaxed.
Well, and coming off the bench and doing it, I think is what's the impressive part. And as a freshman who's 6 for 9 this season with 4 RBIs. Changeup on the ground, dug up by Bond. Nice play at third by Brooke Bond. This one out.
That really was a great play by Bond. Last game she was playing first base, so to flip the side of the infield, that's not easy to do, and she keeps her glove down and then just tosses it over there.
Well, and for Bond, she's just one of many that's been kind of rotating around this infield for Radford this season, because you have Freeman, who's played second and third. First base has been a revolving door with Bond there, now at third this game. And for Radford, it's one of the things they're trying to figure out this weekend is, hey, what's their starting infield going to look like in a couple of weeks come conference play? And for Coach Creasy, I mean, she's got the talent. It's just finding out the best mix and figuring out where to put her team.
Yeah, and she said that they've had a really great attitude going into it, because that's hard to do. I mean, you're playing first base and you're seeing the pitcher from a completely different angle, and all of a sudden you're over on the hot corner and you're facing hitters like Justice Perry right here, who has had some really, really good at-bats, and she has just missed both her first and second at-bat. So,
well, I think, too,
interested to see.
With Radford, this game is, I think they've taken a step in the pitching circle. And yes, don't want to lose to Louisville and down 3 runs here to Auburn. Perry fouling one off but their pitching has kept them in it. I mean, you got to think you're one defensive play away from this being a tie ball game right here in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, absolutely. And she did say, you know, our defense needs to make the routine plays, and we need to keep the ball in the park. And last inning, that's kind of where it went wrong, and then Kendall come up and put it over the center field fence.
Pops it up, it'll stay in play. Here's Bond racing to it, and the third baseman making the first 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th.
Now batting the left fielder, number 7, Carmen Greenwood.
On doing a nice job for Radford. It's 2 outs, base is empty. Carmen Greenwood to the plate. But I think Radford, of course, still another chance on offense. But they're going to look back at this game regardless, win or lose, and this is going to be a teaching moment for this team this year.
Absolutely. And when they come out the next inning, they have 8-9-1. So if they can, 8-9 can somehow get on base and they turn it over the top of the lineup, this game is definitely not over.
Well, the top of the order gave Auburn the most trouble in the first inning. I mean, they batted 7 batters in the first inning, with the majority of those players reaching it in some way or another. Greenwood lays off the pitch in the dirt. But for Auburn, they've done this game what they've done all season. Scratch across 1 or 2 early, find their rhythm midway through the ball game.
You can see how Morris can be effective. I mean, coming in after somebody's throwing mid-60s, and then like that pitch was just 51.
Well, the pitch she threw to Kendall Veach that she hit out wasn't a bad pitch. Veach just made a better adjustment. And Morris loses Carmen Greenwood with a walk with 2 outs. Runner at first for Auburn in the bottom of the 6th. Auburn putting up a 5 spot last night against Michigan State. So 10 runs in 2 games for the Auburn offense.
Also, when you have a pitcher throwing at this velocity, it's a lot easier to steal bases. There she goes.
Greenwood off to second, and she's hosed. Great play by Maggie Rowe. Douglas with a tag, and Auburn runs themselves out of the 6th inning. Maggie Rowe with a missile down to second, and we head to the 7th. Auburn in control, 5-2. Auburn's offense got it going in the 5th inning. Got a couple double plays to spark the Tigers defensively with a double play, and then Casey McCracken comes in, drives in a run, and then in the 6th inning, Kendall Veach sits back on a leadoff home run to start the 6th. Veach's 8th homer, 21st run batted in of the year. Tigers lead at 5-2 in the top of the 7th. Amy, we said it in our open, and it's the case here in the top of the 7th. Good defense complementing the good offense, going with a solid outing from Ashley Swindle in the circle, and Swindle going for a complete game here.
Yeah, and she's really settled down after that first inning. She hasn't had second inning. She had a 1-2-3 inning, and I think that she would like to come out there and do this right now. But if you look at the box score, it's fairly even. Both 6 hits, both in air. Radford's actually left more people on base.
Ellie Rowe to lead off the inning. Laces one foul to start it off. And Rowe reached on a fielder's choice to shortstop, avoided a double play in the 4th inning. A blue grounder to second. McCracken with a quick throw to first. Tigers 2 outs away.
Good job by McCracken. That's the second time that she's got one of those balls. Sometimes they hit with the spin and you don't know which way they're going to go.
McCracken, she's one that's just so calm, cool, and collected.
She really is.
I mean, the same player every day, even after a mistake. I mean, she gets always right back up and says, hey, even the next one, let's go.
Yeah, when you have that in your middle infield, I mean, clearly solid. Veach, Talon, Casey, Morgan, when you're solid up the middle like that, I mean, everyone feeds off of that.
Callie Morgan will pinch hit in the 9th spot of the order for Laura Madry. And for Morgan out of Hampton, Virginia, 154 average with an RBI this season. Takes a missile on the outside corner for a called strike. Swindle at 90 pitches. She's pitched to Jim today. Giving up a base hit here or there, but she stayed true to herself. In the air, right field side. This could be tough. Dallisa Rivera uses the wheels, runs out of the stadium almost, and makes the play.
It's the Dallisa Rivera show the last couple innings. What a great first step.
Now batting the second baseman, number 7, Sydney Fisher.
Rivera, to her credit, she had one of the toughest plays of the year last year against Florida State in the NCAA regional. Diving play down the line, got past her, and ended up being the game winner for Florida State. And overheard her a couple weeks ago talking about that play and just what she's learned from that, and carries that as a learning moment in one of the toughest on the toughest stage in the game, the NCAA tournament. And she uses it now as a positive, how she's grown from that, and now she comes out today, makes 2 of the best plays of the game defensively for Auburn.
Yeah, and that just speaks to players, you know, as they go from freshman year to sophomore year to junior year. You can't make every play.
Yeah.
And so all you can do is learn from it.
Sydney
and
Fisher.
She's going to find herself in that spot again some point in this year, and she'll make the adjustment.
Well, the same thing with what she told Coach Eddie Kettlehut after the California tournament last week. Says, hey, we have adjustments we've got to make at the plate. We've got to make those before Southeastern Conference play, and just shows the maturity. Ashley Swindle for the win. She gets the strikeouts. And Auburn downs Radford 5-2. And the Tigers improve to 18-4 on the regular season. A hard-fought battle as Radford punched Auburn in the mouth, maybe, but the Tigers come roaring back and they put a little pressure on Radford.
Yep, Ashley Swindle, great job. She scatters 6 hits, and then Auburn's able to come back, go ahead, and then Radford was never able to put